Hot Take Tuesday time, ladies and gentlemen. 3 hot takes today. 2 of them will be Steelers themed just because it's the nature of the Steelers, and Aaron Rodgers did retire, so I figured we'd have to do an Aaron Rodgers hot take. This one is gonna this take is gonna get me in a lot of trouble in some Steelers circles. But am I crazy to think Mike Tomlin is not the problem in Pittsburgh? Is that a crazy? I know that's a hot take, but it's like you look at the last few Steelers QB matchups in the playoffs. It was a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers versus the best defense in the NFL. It was a 36-year-old Russell Wilson versus first-team All-Pro Lamar Jackson. It was Mason Rudolph versus Josh Allen, who led the NFL in touchdowns that year, robbed of the MVP, different story. Patrick Mahomes versus a 40-year-old Big Ben. Like, losing those games, like, that's like, how much is that on Mike Tomlin? How much of a testament is it that Mike Tomlin was able to get some lackluster offenses, some lackluster talent into the playoffs to be in a situation where you're matching up? They literally played the three of the 4 best quarterbacks of this generation 3 straight years with a 40-year-old Big Ben, Mason Rudolph, and a 36-year-old Russell Wilson. They were never going to win those games. And they have a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers who can barely move against the best defense in the NFL, and he's throwing to his best receiver is DK Metcalf. That guy's named the top 20 receiver in the NFL. Like, how much can you blame Mike Tomlin when it is the players that play the games? Where you can blame him is the loss to Baker Mayfield. Where you started 11-0, 39-year-old Big Ben, I don't care. You lost to Baker Mayfield, and the Browns' defense gave up a gazillion points, and they lost in the division round to Blake Bortles. And yes, those defenses also, though, they did not have much talent. They were not good. They were not talented defenses. But you lost to Blake Bortles. They ran right through you with playoff Lenny. It was like 40-something. Like, they got 40-something on your head, Blake Bortles did. So that, though, not doing anything with the triple Bs, you can blame on Tomlin. I understand that. And losing to Baker, I understand that. But you look at the 4 last playoff games they lost, like, they were never beating Patrick Mahomes. He had 5 touchdowns in that game. You're never beating Mason Rudolph. You're never beating Josh Allen and Mason Rudolph. You were never beating Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry with Russell Wilson. And then nobody with a brain thought that they were beating this Texans defense today. Nobody. Best defense in the NFL with a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers throwing to Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf. Like, it was never a chance. Like, Mike Tomlin can only do so much. Like, a coach can only do so much if the players aren't good, and the players have not been good in Pittsburgh. So I still don't think Mike Tomlin is the problem. Who are they going to get that's better than Mike Tomlin? That's really going to bring in a different philosophy. Where if the quarterback play is a bunch of fossils and Mason Rudolph, which it has been over the last 4 playoff games, if the offense, if the roster construction just continues to neglect the weapons and they just go with DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin, like, how good is this team going to be when the players are just not good? They overpaid a regressing TJ Watt. They overpaid Cam Hayward. They traded for Jalen Ramsey to play corner just to move him to safety. They overpaid Patrick Queen at a position in off-ball middle linebacker that is just one of the most replaceable, least valuable positions on the defense. Like, it's the roster construction, the roster management that I have more of a problem with than Mike Tomlin's ability to coach. But they were never winning a playoff game. It was Patrick Mahomes versus a 40-year-old Big Ben, 36-year-old Russell Wilson versus first-team All-Pro Lamar Jackson, Mason Rudolph versus Josh Allen, 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers versus the best defense in the NFL. They were never winning any of those games. How is that Mike Tomlin's fault? Now, losing to Baker Mayfield, losing to Blake Bortles, and your defense laying absolute eggs in those games, I can understand that. But it's just like, how much of it is Mike Tomlin? How much of it is the roster construction? But also, how much of a role does Mike Tomlin play into the roster construction? I don't think if they move off Mike Tomlin, they're going to find a better coaching candidate. I really don't. Let me get a water break and then we'll get into the next hot take, which I don't even know if this is hot. This might not even be that hot, but I just want to give Aaron Rodgers his credit. Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback of all time. I think it's Brady, Mahomes, Manning, Montana, Rodgers. I never watched Dan Marino. I never watched John Elway. But John Elway won a Super Bowl with a running back with Terrell Davis carried him. But that's just like box for watching. Either way, Aaron Rodgers' resume. 1 Super Bowl, which is kind of like, I only won, but in context, he never had good defenses. 4-time MVP, 4-time All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, 174 wins, 527 touchdowns to 123 interceptions, the greatest touchdown interception ratio. I don't think anybody's ever beating that. Best touchdown interception ratio of all time. 66,274 passing yards, which is 5th all time. But the stats don't do it justice, even though those are incredible accolades. That is an incredible resume. First ballot Hall of Fame resume. The eye test. Was there a guy in the history of the sport that threw a prettier football, a more accurate football than Aaron Rodgers? It's just like he was the last of the greats that my generation, if you were born from like 1995 to 2020 or to like 2005, if you were born in that range, roughly, Aaron Rodgers is the last like great quarterback. Like Brady retired, Manning retired, Breeze retired, Phillip Rivers retired, unretired, retired again. Matt Ryan retired. And yes, Matt Ryan does deserve to be in that category. I guess it's just him and Stafford, but Stafford is a little bit after some of those guys. He's away. Aaron Rodgers, top 5 QB of all time. Screw all your stats. Watch the games. Eye test. That guy was unbelievable. And if he got drafted in a Brady situation and he had top 10 defenses to work with, you don't think that guy's getting more than one ring? I'd have to disagree. And now this is a scorching hot take. Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. Now, that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. And before you sprint to the comments section, hear me out, okay? In Brock Purdy's 7 playoff games, he is 5-2. And the only games that he lost was a game he got injured and a game where the last time he left the field with a lead in overtime in the Super Bowl. But wins aren't a QB stat, I agree. But he has 9 touchdowns to 3 interceptions on 230 yards per game compared to Justin Herbert in 3 playoff games. 54% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, same amount of touchdowns as Jawan Jennings, by the way. A minus 36 point differential. And so he has less yards per game, less touchdowns per game, more interceptions per game, worse completion percentage. His team doesn't win as much. But it's like, okay, wins aren't a QB stat. It's not all on Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, top 10 defenses, back-to-back seasons, and still laid eggs. 4 interceptions against the Texans, 3 points against the Patriots, a Patriots defense that played 1 top 10 offense all year, and that top 10 offense in the Buffalo Bills averaged 27 points per game against the Patriots defense. So it's like, what are we doing here with Justin Herbert versus Brock Purdy? Yes, Justin Herbert is way more physically talented, but Brock Purdy produces when the lights are the brightest, and Justin Herbert shrinks time and time again. He had open receivers against his Patriots defense. He was just missing throws. He had a wide open Ladd McConkey in a scramble drill where he's rolling out to his right, which is easier for a right-handed quarterback to throw the ball when he's rolling out to his right. Common sense. He just didn't throw the ball to Ladd McConkey. He had receivers open down the field. He was just missing them. Quentin Johnson on a scramble drill. Hard throw to make, but it's a throw he has made before. He left it short. Kamani Vidal on a scramble drill. Had him, but he threw it long. Like, he had plays that we've seen him make before in the regular season. He just doesn't make them in the playoffs when Brock Purdy consistently does deliver. He has like 4 game-winning drives in 7 playoff games. He is clutch. Justin Herbert is the opposite. You cannot trust him in the playoffs. Give me Brock Purdy over Justin Herbert, solely based on how they've performed when the lights are the brightest, and that is what matters the most. I don't care what you do from weeks 1 to 18 if you're going to go and throw up stinkers in the playoffs year after year after year the way Justin Herbert has. That'll do it for today's Hot Take Tuesday. Hit the follow button, hit the YouTube, hit subscribe button. Go to Fire Sports Takes on TikTok and Instagram. I appreciate all you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Hot Take Tuesday Fire Sports Takes podcast.